Our problem number 6 is 2-point charges are separated by a distance of 10 centimeters. One has a charge of negative 25 microcoulombs and the other positive 50 microcoulombs. What is the direction and magnitude of the electric field at a point in between them that is 2.0 centimeters from the negative charge? Let's proceed with our solution process. So let's start with citing our given values. Let's have the total distance between the two given charges. Let me denote that one is r sub t, and that is 10 centimeters or 10.0 centimeters. So we have to express this one into meters. So 10.0 centimeters is equal to 0.1, or you can have 0.10 meter. Next, our given charges. We don't have the letter symbols, so let's just assume. So let's have Q sub 1 for negative 25 microcoulombs, or it is equal to negative 25 times 10 raised to the power of negative 6. Oh, bakit meters? Let me first erase it to 1. And let me change that to 1 with coulombs. Another charge given, let me denote that to 1 with Q sub 2, and that is positive 50 microcoulombs. And that is equal to 50, that is also, equal to 50 times 10 raised to negative 6 coulombs. The distance between our P from the negative charge, that 2 centimeter. So let me denote that 1 is R sub P. So that's the distance between our negative charge and our point charge. So, you can assume lang po yung subscript natin. Kayo na po bahala. But for this presentation, I will be using uppercase P. So, that's 2.0 centimeter, or that is equal to 0.20 or 0.2 meter. Meron pa po ba tayong given values na nasa screen po ninyo? Wala na po. So, proceed po tayo sa ating citing the variable that the problem requires us to find, and that is the electric field, both the direction and the magnitude. Again, the electric field, both the magnitude and the direction, and it has a unit in Newton per coulomb. Sige po, proceed po tayo sa ating solution process. Our reference particle is P because of the preposition at here in our question. We have our two po na electric fields. And what are those electric fields? Ano po yung names ng ating electric fields? So, idiretso ko na po dito ha. So, yung names po natin, we have our electric field at point P acted by our particle 1. So, let me have that one as E sub 1. And we also have another particle acting at point P by our Q sub 2, and that is E sub 2. So, meron po tayong dalawang electric fields. Now, we can next draw our free body diagram, or you can directly first solve our electric fields. Now, for this presentation, I will first draw the free body diagram for our E sub 1, E sub 2, at saka E sub net. By the way, let me first draw to you the free body diagram of the entire system. Assuming that our system or our charges lie on the x-axis, and assuming that our Q sub 1 is positioned at the leftmost and our Q sub 2 is positioned at the rightmost. Lahat po na yon assumption simply because it is not directly given. Those requirements are not directly given by the problem. So, having said that, here we have Q sub 1, which is a negative particle. And also here we have our Q sub 2, which is a positive particle. Now, the distance between them po, it's 0.10. Ayan. So, it's 0.10 meter. We have our point P in between. And the distance between the point P and the negative charge is 0.20 meters. So parang dito po siya. Ayan. And this is always positive. Diba? A test charge is always positive. So dyan po siya. And the distance between them, so let me use na lang po. Yes po!
Dapat sir, ano sir, 0.02 meters po siya sir.
Zero. Ay, okay. Salamat. Oo, tama, tama. Sorry for that. So, let me first erase na lamang po yung ating... tama. Sorry. Maraming salamat sa pag-correct. Ayan. Maraming salamat talaga. At least na-correct agad. The 2.0 centimeters in meter is 0.02 meter. Maraming salamat po. So, going back with our free body diagram, the distance between our Q sub 1 and the P is 0.02 meter. So, how do I draw this one? Ito na lang, dito na sa may baba. Ayan. So, the distance is 0.02 meter. Yan po. So, yan po yung ating free body diagram of our system. Now, let me draw the free body diagram for our E sub 1. So, what are the particles involved? We have our Q sub 1 and our particle P. So, let's just copy lamang po yung ating nasa original diagram. Na dito pala, si Q sub 1 at dito rin si particle P. And particle P, that's positive. Particle Q sub 1, that's negative. So we are given here with two unlike charges. If two unlike charges, what will happen? They will attract. Ano force? Attractive force or attraction. So what will happen? They will move toward each other. What will happen sa arrow nila? Ang Q sub 1, it will point po towards P. At saka si P naman, it will point towards Q sub 1. So that's the free body diagram of our E sub 1. Now let's have our E sub 2 here at the just under or below our E sub 1. So for the free body diagram of E sub 2, we'll just copy what is being drawn there in our original diagram. So here I have my P, which is positive, and our Q sub 2, which is 0.08 away from P toward nasa right po. So we have Q sub 2 here, and that is also positive. So we are given with two positive charges. What will happen? They will repel. So ano pong force? Repulsive or repulsive force or repulsion. So what will happen? If repulsive or repulsion, they will move away from each other. If they will move away from each other, ano po yung mangyayari sa arrow po nila? For P, it will move away from Q sub 2 at saka ang Q sub 2 naman, it will point to the right. So yan po ang free body diagram ng E sub 2 po natin. Now, let's draw the free body diagram of our E sub net or the total electric field. So, as mentioned, our reference particle, that's point P. So, we will just consider the arrows of P's para sa ating mga free body diagram. For E sub 1, ito lamang po ang i-consider po natin. Ang E sub 2 naman, ito lamang po ang i-consider po natin. So, with that, let me first change the color. Yan po. So with that, we can create or draw na po the free body diagram of our E sub net. So here I have my P. And for the E sub 1, hindi pa po natin alam na kung ano po yung ating ano po yung magnitude ng ating E sub 1 and E sub 2 kasi nakasalalay po doon yung length ng ating arrow. So having said that, let's first solve the value of E sub 1 and E sub 2. So for the E sub 1, what will be the formula that we will be using? That is K times Q sub 1. Q sub 1. Let's just be consistent with the subscript used over r squared. Now, after that, let's just substitute our given values. So for the K, we have 8.988 times 10 raised to positive 9 Newton times meter squared per coulomb squared times our Q sub 1, that is negative 25, but since we're dealing with the magnitude of E sub 1, we have to disregard the negative sign. So we will just write 25 times 10 raised to negative 6 coulombs divided by the distance between our Q sub 1 and the P. Again, the distance between our Q sub 1 and P. So what's the distance between Q sub 1 and P? That is 0.02 meter, and don't forget the squared. So 561, 750, tapos 1,000. Unit is Newton per coulomb. Next, proceed po tayo sa pag-calculate ng value or the magnitude of our E sub 2. So, given the formula K times Q sub 2 over R squared. Substitution, 8.988 times 10 raised to positive 9 Newton times meter squared per coulomb squared times our Q sub 2, that's 50 times 10 raised to negative 6 coulombs divided by the distance between our P or test charge P and our Q sub 2 is 0.08 meter. Paano po nakuha ang 0.08 meter? We just subtract 0.02 meter from 0.10 meter. So with that, this yields us to 0.08 meter, and do not forget exponent 2. 70 ang 218, 750. Given the magnitudes for E sub 1 and E sub 2, we can now draw our E sub net. Now, it is very important for us to know the magnitudes of our E sub 1 and E sub 2 first, for us to have a rough approximation or rough estimation of the length of our electric fields. So, let's have E sub 1 first. For E sub 1 daw, based sa ating diagram, yung P points to the left. So, saan po yung mas malaki sa E sub 1 and E sub 2? Yung mas malaki po is E sub 1. Most probably, mas mataas po ang length ng arrow niya. So, with that, tataasan ko lamang po siya dito, assuming that's a straight line po. And let me denote this one as E sub 1. Another electric field, E sub 2, based on our diagram, our E sub 2 points to the left also. So, pero mas maliit siya. The magnitude is smaller compared sa ating E sub 1. So, dito parang dito siya. Ayan. And let me denote this one as E sub 2. With our given diagram for E sub net, we can conclude that the algebraic equation for us to solve the E sub net is negative E sub 1 plus negative E sub 2. And with that, let's have our substitution. So, E sub net is equal to negative. Our E sub 1 is 561, 750,000 newtons per coulomb plus negative. Our E sub 2 is 70,218,750 newtons per coulomb. So, our E sub net now equals to negative 631,968,750 newtons per coulomb. Ayan po. So, let's now write our final answer. So, the negative sign po sa ating E sub net, that entails the direction already. Ibig kong sabihin nun, the total electric field po Nang sa system po natin, it points po to the left or it points po towards Q sub 1. So here we can have negative, and you can use po scientific notation for this because the number is too large. So we can have 6.31 times 10 raised to, I know, it's not 6.31 but it's 6.32 kasi yung next po na digit natin, it's 9. So 6.22, wait lamang po. 6.32 times 10 raised to positive 8 newtons per coulomb. You can have this answer for that, negative 6.32 times 10 raised to positive 8 newtons per coulomb, or you can also have an answer 6.32 times 10 raised to positive 8 newtons per coulomb towards Q sub 1. So our E subnet, either of these two answers is correct.